welcome to Lunch and Learn. I'm Ed DeVoe, president of the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association, the state's first and largest trade association for the cannabis industry. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors and then give you a heads up for an upcoming event. So our sponsors for today are Proteus 420, Financial Resources Federal Credit Union, Saks LLP, Burton Trent Public Affairs, Curaleaf, Garden State Green Energy, Dutchy, Puffin Entrepreneurs and Investors, Sprague Energy, our preferred energy partner, and the Sheet Metal Workers Local 19. Upcoming events, please join us at Archer Law. Archer is kind enough to host our February 28th event. We'd love to see you there. It's in Voorhees, New Jersey. Come check us out. It is a lift the cap celebration. For those that are following the industry, when the regulations and legislation were passed, there was a cap on cultivation facilities. So what we're doing is essentially celebrating the lifting of the cap on cultivation licenses. That's happening on February 23rd officially, but we are celebrating on February 28th, as well as our normal business networking practices. So please join us on February 28th. Note the time, it's 5:30 to 8:30. And that's at Archer Law. I'd like to thank Bill Caruso, who is our corporate counsel, and Archer Law for hosting us. Well, without any further ado, I want to welcome somebody who is no stranger to the industry, no stranger to Lunch and Learn. The firm, Grow America Builders, has been very supportive of the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association. Joining us is my friend from the frozen tundra of Chicago,
Oh, yeah.
David Fettner of Grow America Builders. David, how are you?
I'm great, Ed. Thanks so much. It's always great to see and talk to you.
Oh, man, look, I really appreciate you joining us once again. As you are keenly aware, here in New Jersey, man, things are getting ready to take off.
Oh,
The CRC, Cannabis Regulatory Commission, has issued close to 1,000 conditional licenses. Those licenses are now being converted to annual. And just recently, the CRC has started actually awarding annual licenses. So things are getting ready to take off. Things are getting hot. You are sitting pretty when it comes to what's happening here in Jersey.
It's exciting. You know, we're based in Chicago, obviously, but by far and away, we have done the most projects either completed, under construction, or in pre-con in New Jersey. New Jersey is like our second home at this point. Our second completed cannabis facility was in New Jersey. Our third, our fourth, our fifth. So, you know, New Jersey is near and dear to us. We have a full-time project manager, Kenny Newman, who's up in Franklin Lake. So we feel like we're Jersey residents at this point. And so it's exciting. I mean, it's crazy, you know, between all the different type of licenses that are out there, right? The micro licenses, the annual licenses, the conditionals, and you're right, everything seems to be exploding at once now.
Right, that's right. So look, nationally, just to give us some perspective, we love that you love New Jersey. In fact, we make you honorary Jerseyan.
Please. I'm a big Springsteen fan, so you know if that makes a difference. Then
all right. Now you're putting the pressure on. I got to get tickets now.
yeah. Oh God, that'll cost you.
Look. Worst case scenario, you and I will go to the Stone Pony and hope that he shows up.
Love it. Done deal. We'll just stay there.
Cool. So from a perspective, give us the national perspective. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in terms of types of construction? And of course, you know, I'm going to ask the how much, right? Everyone wants to look at that. So if you could share that.
Absolutely. Like, and on the trend side, it is so different from state to state. As you know, we all know some states are in a little cannabis recession right now, right? You have states like Michigan, just north of here, California, and doesn't mean we're not building in those states. There's still construction going on, but that trend is more on an efficiency basis. So when you're designing a facility, you know, on the grow side, especially, you know, in Michigan or in California or in Colorado, we're trying to design it okay, how can we have it so your growing price per pound is as low as possible, still growing good bud, right? I mean, that's, you don't want to grow crap. You want to still be able to grow high quality bud, but you want to keep that price per pound so low because you want to be able to go with how the market is, right? It's not $2,500 a pound. It's not $3,000 a pound like is in other states out there. So you want to be able to have a good, efficient facility. Sometimes that means a little bit more cost upfront, right, to keep with the efficiency. But in the long term, you're going to be able to take on, those low points, the down markets. And when the markets are up, you really will be, at a really good profit margin. On the retail side, we're seeing a lot of clients go and partner up and try to have a consumption, right? So retail with a consumption adjacent, or some type of new interesting concept that will bring the consumer. It's not so much where you're going to have, one dispensary in a 20-mile radius. Now you're going to have two, maybe three dispensaries in the same town. So it's about having a nice concept, obviously getting good brands in there, getting good top quality cannabis. I think that once you have that good type of concept of a facility where, oh, okay, everybody's gonna go in the first time and check it out, but you want to have those repeat customers. You want it to be the place where maybe you're going to drive a few blocks past one dispensary to get to yours. So, it's all about the concept and having the right type of people, more of a hospitality type of atmosphere in there. So, and if you can have a consumption area adjacent to it or, next door, come in, buy some product, hang out, smoke a little, watch a football game or something. That's also helps drive clients. It's a competitive market now. Our industry, which we both love and are passionate about, it's changing. It's changing every year. And I think the big change right now is on the competitive side. It's getting a lot more competitive for the operators. So that creates a little creativity on our side to try to see, okay, well, how can we separate, this dispensary, this consumption lounge, from the one down the street?
That's great information, David. In fact, I'm going to put a little pressure on Jenna Ray for a little bit later in the program, probably towards the end. As you know, we're doing another major networking event, right? In fact, it's more than networking. It's very focused, much like our October 27th event. I'm not sure if we have a flyer ready for it, but on April 12th, we're actually at the NJCBA. April 12th, we're going to be back at Galloping Hill Golf Club. And so what we're actually dealing with, because of everything that you've mentioned, we're looking at the concept of moving from culture to commerce. So, and I do want your opinion on this. When we've been working as advocates, it was all about culture, right? We want people to believe and embrace cannabis culture. But now that we've embraced culture, or at least we're destigmatizing culture, now we're getting serious, right? This is real now. This is, hey, I have to put dollars in somebody's hands to build something, to create something, to take me from like concept to construction. So what are your thoughts? How is that happening? Is it a smooth transition, or do you still see some disconnect? Hopefully not a lot of it, but going from culture to commerce.
So you're right. I think we've all done a great job with the culture part of it, where, my mom feels comfortable, would feel comfortable going into a dispensary. I don't think there's that stigma anymore. Mom, if you're listening, sorry to throw you under the bus on that. But I'm just saying, like, in general, I don't think we have that stigma for the most part anymore, right? That culture part of it now, cannabis is more mainstream. I think everybody's realizing there's a ton of benefits for it. The commerce part of it is the number one challenge right now. I think if you ask, you got 100 people in a room in cannabis industry, what's the number one challenge? It's financing, right? Getting the money. And even clients who have assets and who have capital, they still have a high challenge to get that final funding. Not so much on the retail side. Retail is still, for the most part, it's a home run. You're making money day one once you open up the doors. On the cultivation side, on the manufacturing side, it's tough out there. It's very, very hard. And because Safe Banking Act wasn't passed, and we're not even going to go down that road, but we're still stuck in our industry to private equity, private financing. And there's a lot of money out there, but there's not a lot of projects that money's going towards. So I think, there could be, there's some really good finance companies out there that have really good packages. There's a lot of creative packages out there. But it's hard if you have a license, right? If you want a license, you have to have the asset, or at least you have to be able to put something up as collateral. And there's not a lot of collateral out there that the lenders are looking for. So commerce is the #1 challenge by far. I think you nailed it. And that's across the board. That's not just, state to state. Obviously, the states that have a more robust market, like Illinois, New Jersey, New York, Florida, it's going to be easier to get a financing for that project. But still, even in those states, we're seeing a lot of difficulties.
That's good to know. And thank you so much for reaffirming what we at the Cannabis Association have been trying to preach, I guess, and will continue to preach at this particular point. So you touched on something, and I just see in the chat, Rich from Sprague Energy, who is our preferred energy partner. You touched on efficiency, and so when it comes to efficiency, yes, people are looking at first schematics, and they're trying to do their construction costs. But does Grow America Builders actually begin to delve in, at least from a recommendation or consultation point, like, hey, you should be looking at a Sprague Energy because you want to minimize costs, maximize efficiency on things like energy. So is that something that Grow America Builders does?
Absolutely. So, one of the things I did when we created this company is try to be a full A to Z. Anything that you need that has to do with cannabis facilities, we're here for it, right? So, of course, our bread and butter is building them, but also design, consulting, anything adjacent. Even if a client comes to us and says, hey, I need an cannabis insurance agent, or I need a cannabis, even a bank. I mean, we bank with a great bank in Manhattan, Dime Bank. They're cannabis friendly. We're not allowed, even though we're not plant touching, we're not allowed in Bank of America or, Chase. So, if somebody comes and says, hey, we need a good cannabis friendly bank, we even will refer them to, Dime, and we have other banks as well. But so, somebody comes to us and say, hey, we want to be off the grid, right? We're in rural Mississippi. We really don't have the power. We can only get 200 amps single phase at best case. What do we do? Then we're going to say, okay, well, here's how we're going to get you off the grid, using a natural gas type system. Or somebody says, hey, I want to be able to go geothermal, or we'll refer geothermal. Geothermal, a lot more expensive up front, but your maintenance costs are going to be really low. That's really how you're going to get that low price per pound, growth. So of course we have those recommendations. Some of those systems are over my head. Truthfully, I'm not claiming that, but we know the different systems that will create that efficiency, and also where the price points are. Here's options A, B, and C. Option A is going to be the most upfront, but also your delta on your, efficiency and on your monthly maintenance fees is going to be way less. Here's option B, a little bit less upfront. So we'll weigh all those with the client, and then introduce them to different resources, different people. Again, I see Sprague Energy is on here. Rich, we would say, hey, talk to Rich. Rich is going to put something together. This is how we'll interact with him. So we try to pride ourselves on being open-minded to every type of different system and efficiency, and then introducing the client or their client's grower to those people, and then taking it from there.
Great. Thanks again. And this is brilliant. I know that there are people that are viewing today and will view later when we upload this to our YouTube channel. So for those that are either just getting their licenses or their license is imminent at this point, look, there are a lot of companies out there, right? There is a lot of folks that are promoting themselves. Look, we do construction, we do consulting. Even on the consultation front, I had a guest, Alexon Colazo, a couple of weeks ago or last week from a consulting firm, and we talked about the fact that, look, if you're new to any industry, right, and you're running into consultants or professionals, in your case, when we are looking at construction design, how do we pick a good consulting construction firm or construction consulting firm? How do we differentiate? Because there are a lot of people that are doing this for the first time
Yeah.
that see this?
Well, I'm gonna be totally honest, you know, on the retail side, if you find a good construction company and they are experienced with commercial and retail type of construction, and they know how to read a good set of plans, they'll be perfectly fine. You know, I don't wanna, you know, take myself out of competition and unveil the curtain. But that's just the truth of the matter is when you're building a dispensary, there are a few quirks to it, right? You have a few little, you know, idiosyncrasies. But almost any good builder will be able to do a dispensary fit out. There'll be a little bit of a learning curve. Maybe instead of taking, you know, 8 to 10 weeks, it'll take 12 to 16. But when it comes to the cultivation side of it, and it comes to the manufacturing and infusion, that's where there's that huge learning curve. And that's where once, you know, you have that experience and you know, when we first started, we didn't even know what we didn't know, right? And that was the scary part. And I think I mentioned this before, is that's why when we do cultivation projects, even today, you know, we keep an expert cultivator on our staff to oversee the plant touching areas. I could sleep at night knowing, okay, did I miss something? Did I miss something with the irrigation? Are the lights hanging too low? Do we have, you know, do we have the right system in place? Forget about what's on the design, because you and I both know we've probably walked into a bunch of disasters that were built per plan, and whoever was reading them was just, you know, blinders on and not realizing, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. This is not good for the product. This isn't good for the cannabis. So because this is all we do, you know, we eat, I always say we eat, sleep, drink, and smoke cannabis. That's all we do. So we're in this world and we have a good idea of, you know, how to grow, what the plants need, what's good for them, what's not good for them. You know, we know a wet wall in a greenhouse in the middle of Michigan is a disaster, you know, for cannabis, but you know, we've seen it done. So when we take a look at a set of plans that, you know, we didn't design, we're going to look at it and really go through it. And I think there's a lot of good builders out there. There's a lot of good cannabis builders in New Jersey. There's a lot of good cannabis builders across the country. A lot of them we're friends with. And, you know, we know what we know now, right? And there's a lot that a new first-time builder in cultivation, I'd be very, very scared, but that doesn't mean they can't do it or can't be done. Okay. You know, on the infusion and manufacturing part, same thing. You know, on that end, you know, you have the C1, D1 rooms. You have a little bit more of a danger if it's not done correctly. But you really have to rely on that consultant to rely on the plans they're given. And if they can't read them with that, you know, with that eye to say, hey, there may be something wrong here. We always look at every set of plans and it's not perfect. And what are we going to look for? So, you know, that's kind of my long-winded answer. It's different when you're between retail construction and when you get into cultivation and manufacturing.
But that's what we need, David. And this is why I'm so glad that you do come on with us. This is why we do this, right? This is why the NJCBA exists, because we are the Chamber of Commerce for cannabis. And as such, we need to make sure that people do make the transition from culture to commerce. We want to make sure that, because we know who is applying, and we know that people are viewing the cannabis industry as a way to change their lives, to change their lifestyle. And we want to make sure that people are not spending money foolishly.
Yeah.
So the question, which we appreciate your answer, hey, look, get a good construction firm, get a good construction consultant. And by the way, here's some things where you got to be careful. So on that, and I do want to follow up with my own statement, like what to be careful. So when somebody is getting ready to go to construction, let's say I got my conditional license, I'm ready to go for my annual, or I may even have my annual, but I need build out. How should I expect to pay people? Like, do this like an hourly thing? Is it a monthly thing?
So
pay on deliverables? Help people figure that out.
That's a great question. And I don't think every construction company does it the same, but most will do it where you get submitted a draw request. So let's say you've got your license, right? Let's talk retail. It'll probably be, you know, retail dispensary. And let's say the cost is $500,000, just to keep a basic, you know, round number. So there'll be a $500,000 schedule of value. So, you know, okay, this is going to cost me $500,000. There'll be an initial deposit required that will cover deposit for materials, some lead time items. After that, it should be every 30 days based on progress. Okay. Every 30 days, draw requests will come into the client, say, hey, this is what was done this month: plumbing, electric, HVAC. The client will either do their inspection, or they'll have an owner's rep or an architect come in and say, yep, this work was done, pay the company. Another 30 days will come by, pay the company. So until the project is done, it's 30-day pay applications. I would recommend that no client would really pay for work that's not done yet. There's deposits for material and equipment, that's standard. But if they're seeing that a contractor's asking for a lot more money that's not there, that's not on site yet, that would raise maybe a red flag with me. The other item is, some contractors will be required to have a retention. So they'll retain. Now, that is more common on the larger scale projects like a cultivation or large manufacturing. On retail, it's really not that common because they're so quick. They're between 8 to 16 week build outs. So by the time you're doing retention, the contractor's work is almost over at that point anyways. But good rule of thumb is somebody should expect to have to pay every 30 days for work completed.
Excellent. Excellent rule of thumb. Really appreciate that. You used the term owner's rep.
Yeah.
So those who might not know and might not be prepared to do this, you should have someone on your team and be prepared to pay someone, right? I know it adds to the cost, and I know that's something you want to hear if you're new. But if you're going to do this, you want someone on your team, and you're going to pay that they represent you, meaning the owner, to someone like you.
And on the flip side of it, we like when there's an owner's rep. If we come in a project and we find out that there's an owner's rep and that owner's rep should have construction experience. It should be a former contractor, architect. It should somebody that has construction experience. Cannabis construction experience is even a plus, but those are unicorns, right? There's not a lot of people that do what we all do who are already, working on the owner's rep side. But on a cultivation or a manufacturing larger project, an owner's rep is fairly common. And what that rep will do for you, if you have your annual license and you have a cultivation, they're going to make sure that the work is being done properly, that pay applications are coming in and they're accurate. If there's change orders, and there's always change orders, are these actual change orders that are legitimate, or was this already on the plans? They're going to look to make sure that any credits given are proper credits. And they're also going to make sure and overview the plans, that the plans were done properly. So they're really going to be your hawk. They're going to be your overseer on this. Owner's rep is something that we actually have done also on our end, where we'll have a client who says, hey, I have a license in Ohio, but my brother-in-law is a builder and I need to build with him, but he's never done cannabis before. What can we do here? And we'll be your owner's rep. We'll be your cannabis consultant owner's rep, and we'll just oversee the project to make sure that it's being done not only properly for sake of construction, but also just make sure that the cannabis part, the plant touching areas are being done properly as well. The right equipment is being ordered. That's where we'll come into play as an owner's rep sometime as well. But we encourage, on a large project, that there's an owner's rep for the client.
Right. Excellent points. So as we are coming to a close of our segment, again, I'm going to return to the kind of the how much.
Yep.
So let's say I'm looking at retail, manufacturing, cultivation. I know sometimes in construction, my construction experience has been you get a total cost of the project. 10% is going to be engineering. Can you throw out some of those numbers and bring us to the point of what to expect in a range? What I can expect in terms of cost per square foot, because some people will hear that, or they may not, but that's what they should be asking. So, right. So I'll break it into two, into retail and into cultivation. And when we give out a number, it's an all-in number. It's, all your hard costs from the day you take the hammer to the walls to the day we hand over the keys.
And on retail, the average number, right, that we see is about 250 to 260 a square foot. Okay. If you're taking a dispensary and you're taking over a vanilla box and all the demo's done and everything is stubbed in by the landlord and you're just doing a fit out, that's obviously gonna be a lot less. And if you're taking over an old an old Arby's or something that still has all the cookware in there and the benches, that's gonna be a little bit more. But average, what we see across the board is about 250 to 260 a square foot retail. On the cultivation side, that's more of a loaded question. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a number. I'm not going to get out of here without giving you a number. I know you won't let me do that. But what I will say is that cultivation is so different because there's so many different ways to do it. You have so many different pieces of equipment. You have lights that could be $1,800 a light or $600 a light. You have geothermal system you can do. So there's a lot of different ways. But on average, if you said, hey, I need a number today, the average number is about $400 a square foot. And the way that breaks out though is it's the grow areas, the plant touching rooms, those could be $550, $600 a square foot. And the front office space and the back, those could be $150 a square foot. So it evens out. So that's not saying that every portion of that facility is $400 a square foot. But when you take everything together, you put it in the bucket, that's usually where it balances out to. Can you do a cultivation facility for $325? Absolutely. But I wouldn't throw that number out at somebody until we sat down and kind of figured out, how they want to grow, what's the methodology, etc. So that's really somebody comes and says, hey, how much to build a dispensary? About 250, 260 a square foot. How much for cultivation? About $400 a square foot. With that being said, millions of variables, but
got it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I really hope that our micro licenses hear this, because when you look at New Jersey regulation, micro license, you have 2,500 square feet of canopy.
Yep. Canopy. Hear that? Canopy, because that was a big ambiguous item when we were working on all the micro license applications. It was, yes, canopy. And thankfully it is canopy. That wouldn't have worked otherwise.
There you go. See,
yeah.
And I want people to understand that, especially if you've never done this before. So David, man, look, I really appreciate you once again coming. So before you check out, I do want to thank our sponsors, and then I'll recap some of our upcoming events. Our sponsors, once again, I want to thank Proteus 420, Financial Resources Federal Credit Union, Saks LLP, Burton Trent Public Affairs, Curaleaf, Garden State Green Energy, Dutchy, Puffin Entrepreneurs and Investors, Sprague Energy, our preferred energy partner, the Sheet Metal Workers, Local 19. Thank you to all of our sponsors. If you're interested in sponsorship, by all means, give a call to Jenna Ray Russo. We'd love to hear from you and have you part of our team. Now, upcoming events. I mentioned February 28th. We're going to be in South Jersey. We're going to be in Voorhees. Thanks to Bill Caruso, our corporate counsel, and Archer Law for hosting us February 28th. Do note the start time. It's 5:30. So we'd love to see you there in Voorhees. And as I mentioned, and David, you're going to be here because we've already anticipated you being on it.
Yep.
April 12th.
Yep.
Right? We'd love to have you here. This is, again, going to be a major networking afternoon and evening. This is where you're going to hear from our panels. You're going to hear from different aspects of the business. We are going to be talking about commerce. Time to get serious. Your licenses are coming. Your licenses are here. So we're going to do this. So thank you, Jenna, for posting that. David, any closing thoughts?
No, I love what you guys are doing at NJCBA. I mean, I don't want to sound like a commercial for you guys, but I think I've told you this before. We're members of a number of state associations. You guys by far are the most active, and really looking forward to April 12th. I'll be there. and really glad seeing you. I mean, I always love running into you regardless. So this was
Yeah.
great. Appreciate
Now,
it.
not to invite anybody else, but you and I mentioned, I just might have to see you in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm holding it to that.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Everyone, I want to thank everyone who attended today, and for those who will be watching on YouTube a little later. So February 28th, Anthony, February 28th, we'll see you in Voorhees. It's on the website. So check us out. Again, happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Check out memberships at NJCBA. Would love to have you as a member. Love to see you at our networking events. Thank you so much for participating today. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Ed. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, David.
Bye-bye.
Go America Builders.
Thanks. Bye.